Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning back into our Becoming channel tonight. Thank you so much for your support and love. I appreciate it more than y'all know. That's a little tidbit in there to start with, okay? But I just want to go ahead and jump right on into what we're talking about tonight. Um, Gosh, there's so much to talk about. Where to begin, right? Um, if you have not been living under a rock, or if you've actually been quarantining like we're supposed to be, then you know that all kinds of things are happening in the world right now. Um, in addition to the global pandemic, within the United States, various protests, riots, looting are happening almost everywhere you look. And some of these protests and things are very peaceful, while some others are not. And so tonight, as you can see based on the title of the stream, um, we are going to discuss, or I'm going to discuss, I guess, being the change that we want to see in the world. Okay. Um, with everything that's going on, we are in desperate need of just a revolution, unification, just taking action in the most positive and effective way to see the change that we really need to see in the world. Okay. And so, that being said, sorry, I'm reaching for a little something real quick. That being said, yeah, let's just jump right on into it. Okay. So, first things first, um, with everything that's going on, of course, again, if you have been watching the news on social media, anything like that, then you know that things have been taking place wherein a lot of police brutality accusations have been made, or some of them are allegations and some of them are founded on the whole truth. Okay. And so I want to start by saying it is not okay. Okay. It's not all right. It's not acceptable. It's not um, something that we can turn a blind eye to. And I think that is why we are in the position that we are in now as a nation, where people are just seemingly at their wits' end. We've seen the deaths of Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor and George Floyd and so many others since their deaths and prior to their deaths. As a matter of fact, if you're tuning in and watching me right now from another state, then this isn't hitting as close to home for you. But there was a fatal shooting from a police officer's weapon last night in Atlanta. So, again, this is happening currently. It's very, very current. It's a very pressing issue. And some people may feel like this is super political, or, this is just kind of a controversial topic that a lot of people honestly don't want to talk about. But I believe that because they are controversial, because they are politically charged, and because we live in this nation, because we live in these states and these cities, it is our responsibility to do more than turn a blind eye and act like it's not happening, or not address it at all. So, for those of you that are tuning in that are like, everything is not race related. This is true. It's not. Um, Everything is not, a police brutality case. This is also true. Not everything is. Um, However, we have to be wise enough to first and foremost recognize the difference between the things that are racially motivated, between the things that are, whereas that means racism is um, playing a role in whatever the scenario is, discrimination, prejudice, racial profiling, and police brutality. We have to be wise enough to get all the facts, Let me find out what's really, before I get upset, before I burn anything, before I protest and riot and just say, we're so sick of this. This is what we're talking about. A lot of us feel like that. And obviously, I am a person of color. I am what, a lot of people considered, and my sister often says, a double minority. We are double minorities, being women and women of color. And so it's easy for a lot of us to say, you know what, we're sick of this, we're fed up, enough is enough, all right. I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you how I feel about what's going on in my community and my nation, and all of this stuff. And it's understandable. Let me start there by saying it is understandable to be angry. It is understandable to be fed up. It is understandable to be frustrated. However, there is a way in which you can express your frustration, express your anger, express your opinions and your beliefs without being counterproductive to the cause. Okay, what do I mean by that? Um, you don't have to burn a building down that you don't even know who the owner is. And if you're tuning in and you're listening to this, you may be like, all right, that don't apply to me. I ain't burning no buildings down and all of this stuff. Well, maybe not. And that's great. I hope that you keep that same mentality of avoiding reaching that breaking point. But perhaps you know somebody who is, or perhaps you know somebody who did burn something down or did break into a store and steal some stuff, or, is considering doing it. Let me tell you now, y'all, it is not worth it. It is not effective. Truth really be told, the police and the government, the military are trained and prepared to respond with force to people that, because at the end of the day, you are breaking the law. You are the one vandalizing somebody's property. You are the one stealing somebody's property. And so at the end of the day, when the rubber meets the road and all the facts are laid out, you're the one in the wrong. Regardless of how you feel it was justified, regardless of how frustrated you were, regardless of the other facts prior to the act, when you get in a courtroom, praying you make it there. Those are the facts that are going to be laid out on the line. This is what they did. This is what they took. This is what they burned. This is what they destroyed, and they were destructive. And so let me say this. Um, it's not productive. It's counterproductive, actually, to the cause, to what we're really trying to do by get justice for people like George Floyd and his family, to get justice for people like Breonna Taylor, to get justice for people of color, or that are being marginalized or oppressed and disrespected in any way, shape, or form. Um, to get justice for these people, living or deceased, we have to first and foremost move in a way that is going to be effective long term. Okay. And so, ways in which to do that are first and foremost figuring out, how can I affect change in a way that is going to be impactful and effective, not just today, not just because I'm frustrated, not just because I'm angry, not just because I'm sick of it and bump all these this kumbaya stuff and the Dr. King and We Are the World and all of that stuff. It's not about that. It's about being effective, truly effective. Okay. And so I cannot stress that enough. And so it's like, how can I be effective? How can I be effective when I don't feel like my voice is even being listened to? How can I be effective when I'm the one being oppressed, when my people are the ones who are being marginalized and discriminated against and profiled? Here's how. First and foremost, recognize that You can be the change that you want to see. If you've been on here already and or right before 7 o'clock, then you saw the um, thumbnail that was up before the video started. And it just says be the change that you want to see. If you're tired of people profiling others and judging them based on the color of their skin or based on their socioeconomic status and where they live and what political party they associate themselves with. Be the change you want to see. How can I, first and foremost, if you are even younger than me, then you may or may not be familiar with the song Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson. Everybody should be. You know, it's a part of our history as far as I'm concerned. Okay. If you haven't heard it, wait till this video ends and then go listen to it. Okay. But start with the man in the mirror. Ask yourself, am I contributing to the problem or contributing to the solution? That is how you can start to affect change. That is how you can start to really, first and foremost, consider, because you're a hypocrite. You're biased, you're ignorant, you're uneducated. And these are not things that I'm saying to be offensive to anyone or to belittle anyone by any means necessary. That is not what those terms mean. What I mean in saying that is, if I believe that the best artist in the entire world is Beyonce, and I've never listened to anybody else. If I say she can sing, she can dance, she can do all of this stuff, and I don't ever take into consideration the fact that there are other people who can sing, there are other people who can dance, there are other people that are talented, and I'm like, nope, nope, she taking it, she taking it. Well, yes, she may be what a lot of people consider a standard for excellence when it comes to being an artist, but I can't be biased, being that I've only listened to her, I've only paid attention to her, I've only given her essentially the time of day and nobody else. Okay. And so it's the same kind of situation. We can't be biased and ignorant about what's going on politically, racially, socially in our communities, and take one side or the other without at least educating ourselves to say, let me figure out. You don't have to change what you believe in. You may or may not, but at least take the opportunity to educate yourself and take into consideration other people's opinions, other people's perspectives. Why do you see things that way? Why do you think that that's okay to do that? Why do you think that that's normal or that's acceptable? Start asking these questions, but before you ask anybody else those questions, again, you can't be biased and favor your opinion over everybody else's and say, you know what, when I said something about somebody of another race, there was nothing wrong with that. But when somebody else says something about somebody of another race, addressing how they walk, how they talk, how they dress, what they believe in, I'm not even going to educate myself. I'm just going to say that what I think is right and what you think is wrong, what I think is superior and what you think is inferior. How you walk, how you dress, how you talk, your culture, your beliefs, your practices are outright inferior. And I'm not interested in listening. I'm not interested in having a conversation about, for instance, this is how you have the people, in my opinion, who say all lives matter. Yes, they completely do. But what people are not taking into consideration is that the Black Lives Matter movement is not about making Black people superior over white people or any other race, all other races. That's not what the movement is about. It's not about saying, we want to now have the front seat, metaphorically and culturally speaking, and everybody else just needs to fall inferior to us because we've been oppressed for however many years and XYZ. That's not what that movement is about. But when people say all lives matter. Well, they don't understand that people are saying that in response to the many lives of African American people who have fallen at the hands of police, at the hands of civilians who happen to be of another race in many instances for seemingly and essentially no reason at all, not reasons justifiable for their lives to have been taken. Okay. And so um, these are the things that we have to take into consideration. How, one, can I be the change that I want to see? Well, first and foremost, by taking a look at you. Are you a part of the problem or a part of the solution? Are the things that you're saying helping the cause of unifying people, of upbuilding humanity as a whole, of helping people regardless of the color of their skin, regardless of their political status, regardless of their socioeconomic status, where they live, or what kind of car they drive, or how much money they have? Are you about helping other people who need help? Are you about giving mutual respect to other human beings? If you are, that's all it really boils down to. But if you're not, that's something to take into consideration. Why am I not? Why am I saying things about people of another race in a derogatory way or in a belittling way? Why am I doing that? Why am I disrespecting other people's opinions and not even taking into consideration, hey, well, maybe they seem so passionate about what they're saying. Maybe there's something to it. Maybe I should take out some time to really think about what they're saying or how they feel or how they're affected. If you're not even willing to do that, this is what I mean by ignorance. That is ignorance. That is, and it is not bliss. Okay. It is just being closed minded and egocentric. I like what I believe. I like what I think. I like me over everybody else. That's ignorant. Okay. And so, another way that you can be the change that you want to see is by recognizing that you are affected. You are affected, regardless of what your age is, what your gender is, where you live, whether you want to be involved in the conversation or the society and what's going on or not, you are affected, whether it's directly being a relative of someone like George Floyd or Breonna Taylor or Trayvon Martin or Eric Garner. The lists go on, right? Or whether or not you are an innocent bystander. If you are somebody that's just like, I just want to avoid the drama, avoid the conversation. I was watching a video last night where a gentleman went to a public high school in Kansas and spoke to the students in that school about the debates over the Confederate flag and the statues and memorials, things of that nature that have been upheld even to present day, um, and the controversy over whether or not they should be taken down or left up. Okay, and so I will maybe link that video or put it in the comments or something below if you're interested in actually watching it. But I said that to say that, yeah, we are all affected. One of the kids in that room, at least one, there were a lot of them. There were probably two or three classes all in one space. And so there were a few students who chimed in and spoke up and gave their opinions and their beliefs and their perspectives on things. But the vast majority, there was one that was literally in the camera, like close as I am right now while they were filming stuff. She had earphones in, she was on her laptop the entire time. That obviously meant I'm not interested in being in this conversation. I don't know what y'all gonna say, what you're not gonna say, what consensus or resolution you're gonna come to, but I really don't care. I don't want to be a part of the conversation. Well, that is a problem. Um, because whether she realized it or not, she was a part of the conversation. Whether she realized it or not, she was in the frame and in the room where the conversation was being had. And this is what we all have to take into consideration. So I'm talking to the people or the girls, or even if there's some guys tuned in right now that are like, it really doesn't affect me. It's really not that big of a deal. I don't think it's that serious. Everything's not racially motivated. Everything's not about police brutality. Well, no, everything is not. Um, and please let me clarify this now as well. This is not a race conversation that I'm having. This is not about, something being racially motivated or whatever. This is a war of good versus evil, right versus wrong. We are all adults, or most of us are adults. Even if you're not an adult yet legally, um, we all know the right from wrong. We know what equality means. We know what giving people mutual respect and common courtesy means, even at a young age. And so, with that being the case, we don't have to, truth really be told, we don't have to pull in all these people and have a whole meeting and a couple of conferences and forums to talk about how we can all just kind of be more inclusive and all be more understanding. Yes, the conversations need to be had, and there's nothing wrong with having them in those types of settings. However, truth really be told, we ain't got to do all that. We know right from wrong. We know good from bad. We know showing someone equal treatment and being respectful to people versus not doing so. We learn these things at a very young age. And so, that being said, this is where we are. This is the conversation that is being had and needs to be had continually. So if you are one of those people that's like, I'm not interested in having that conversation, I don't want to talk about it, it's a little too political, it's a little too touchy for me. I mean, if you don't see things from my perspective, that is perfectly fine. We are individuals. Most of us are going to have differing opinions on pretty much everything. Okay. And so that is fine. But what we do have to realize is that we are affected, whether you speak up or not. And so, being that we are all affected by whoever's a police officer, because you don't get to decide whether or not they pull you over. You are affected by whoever is in the White House. You don't We are affected by whoever's in Congress, as our senators, as our House of Representative members, as our mayors, and as our city councilmen, as the attorney generals. We do, however, get to decide who those people are. Which brings me to the point of, since we know that, one, we are affected and we must be the change that we want to see, um, that means we have to take action. And as I previously stated, it's one thing to feel that you're taking action by just, you know what, I'm going to wreak havoc because I'm sick of it. And that's going to be that. Well, you may feel that it's justified. A lot of people may feel that it's justified. And you acted out of frustration and desperation and anger. It's understandable to an extent. But we have to, again, do something that is going to affect change over time for prolonged periods of time. The things that civil rights leaders and activists did during the initial and original civil rights movement has it took precedence then, but it has trickled down into their kids and their kids' kids and their kids' kids. It's gone over time so that now myself, as an African American woman, can go to a polling precinct and vote for who I want to be in office. Well, again, I'm a double minority. If I didn't have it bad one way, I had it bad another if I were living during that time or prior to that time. I didn't get an opportunity to vote. I didn't have a say. My opinion didn't matter because I'm a woman and because I'm a Black woman. Okay. And so, what we want everyone to understand is that that's not the case now. Our ancestors fought and died and persevered, and the civil rights leaders of various races, of various ethnic backgrounds and cultural backgrounds and socioeconomic backgrounds fought and unified and stood together for us to have the opportunity to go and vote and let our voices be heard. Because this is one of the many ways that we are going to actually affect change in a way that will have a lasting effect. Burning down a building is going to happen today. Looting and rioting is going to happen today. Voting and calling the representatives that we vote into office and holding them accountable. You said you stood for this policy as I was preparing to elect you into office. I elected you in on the premise that you were going to do what you said you were going to do. Why have you not done it yet? You've been in office for 2, 3, 4 years. You've been in your position for 2, 3, 4 years, or a whole year, or however much time may lapse. I want you to do X, Y, and Z. This is something that I see that's a problem in my community, in my city, in my state. Can you do something about it? Okay? These are the ways that we can actually affect change. And so, for those of us that are living in Georgia, like myself, many of you tuning in probably are as well, but or if you're not in Georgia, there were several other states that had election preliminaries on Tuesday of this week. And so, hopefully, you all were able to go vote. If you were, um, just drop a comment real quick and say, I voted. Okay, just represent, do it proudly too. I'm gonna do it right now. Okay. And so just drop a comment real quick. I just, I wanna know that you know that you let your voice be heard. Okay. If you did not, that is perfectly fine. What you can do is drop a comment that says, I am registered to vote. If you're registered and you say, well, I just couldn't make it, I didn't get out to go do that voting on Tuesday, and I didn't remember to go do early voting or something, whatever the circumstances were, it's okay. Okay. This is a safe space. I'm not judging anybody. Okay. I'm not going to just hang you by your toenails or something if you didn't go vote. That's all right. Because you still have the opportunity to do so. Okay. Again, it's common knowledge that the presidential election is coming up in November. Okay. And so, if you are registered to vote, we have a good amount of time, almost 5, 6 months, to prepare, to educate ourselves, and to be ready to be voters by November 3rd is the election date this year, I do believe. Okay. And so, educate yourself, prepare yourself. Um, if you are not registered to vote, get registered. Okay. You may be wondering, how do I do that? How can I get registered? Well, I will be posting a lot more information, probably primarily on the Instagram page. And as you can see at the bottom of the screen now, the Instagram's name for the page is up there. So if you're not already following it, haven't liked it, haven't checked it out, please go do that right away. And so I'm probably going to be posting more information on there. I also have spoken to someone that I know personally that said that they are considering having a voter registration drive. And so I told them that I would be more than happy to volunteer and help out with that, to help get some people registered who were not. Um, and so that information will be forthcoming. They are kind of going to have to dot some I's and cross some T's to determine if they're going to have it, where, and when. And so more details are to be determined. But I will definitely keep everybody in the loop on that. Also, like I said, if you are not registered to vote, please do so. I can and will post information about how to get registered. If you are willing and able to just do that on your own time, I can inform you if you're questioning how to do that. Or even, as a matter of fact, I'm going to put something as a comment right now as well. There's something called Ballotpedia, kind of like Wikipedia, but ballot is the primary word there. And so go to Ballotpedia or just simply Google voting or registering to vote in Georgia or whatever city or state you may be in, okay? Um, and if you are not already aware, give a little anecdote. I always have to throw one or two of these in there, I guess. But throw this information in there. If you are 17 and a half years old, you are now or will be by election time, you are eligible to vote. You are. You do not have to be 18 on the dot. You don't have to be 18 before the election date or whatever. 17 and a half is actually the age that you can be or have to be able to vote. Okay. And so, yeah, make sure that you are registered and remember that you are old enough. For those of you ladies who are tuning in that are 17 and a half now, or will be prior to the election in November, please, 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 please register to vote. I will also be posting, I will not tell anyone who to vote for or how to vote, what party to vote in or for at all. But I will be posting some information just to educate us on who is running for what they stand for, what some of their policies may be on the Instagram page. I have also made a Facebook page for Becoming. So if you have not um, gone and seen that, or I haven't sent you any type of invite or uh, invited you to like the page and all of that stuff, I think I've been kind of blowing some folks up. Not really, not trying to at least. But yeah, even bright and early this morning, I was up doing that. And so, yeah, just go check out those other pages on Instagram, on Facebook, and be on the lookout for me to post some more information, specifically and especially about voting and how we can be effective in that way. Okay. Also, if you um, say I'm registered to vote, and I already did that, but that's not enough. You're right. It's not. And I agree. I completely understand. And so maybe you want to do something like, let me get involved in my community, put my feet on the ground, actually strap up my little work boots and get to work. Um, get involved if you're kind of like, I don't even know where to start though. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do first or how I can really help and make change. First thing you may consider, or one of the options you may consider, is getting involved in maybe your local NAACP organization, or getting involved by, like I said, I'm interested in helping to um, volunteer during a voter registration drive. You may say, yeah, I'm going to do that. Or again, the people that are elected officials and in office right now, just because there's an election coming up doesn't mean they ain't got to keep doing their jobs, of course, right? So we can call those people up right now. We can email those people. We can write letters. We can go knock on the door at city council or wherever and personally say, hey, what's being done about X, Y, and Z? Hey, I'm concerned about this as it pertains to lower income people in my society, in my community. And so now, what does this mean? If this means, you've got to call some people, you've got to vote, you've got to register, you've got to do all of this kind of stuff, that means obviously not kind of, threw this out there in the last live stream. That means that we've got to get active. Okay. If you saw um, the statement that was posted under the live stream for tonight, I mentioned in that statement that when desperation meets determination, that's when change is birthed. Okay. And so we all feel that level of desperation right now where we are, you know, so tired of worrying about men and women of color or not of color, young or old. I saw a video, unfortunately, where an elderly man was out peacefully protesting. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Jasmine. I saw an elderly man though, and he was pushed to the ground. A lot of you probably saw that same video by the police, whereby when he hit the ground, his head busted open and he started bleeding from his head. This is an elderly man, and I know some of this stuff is speculation about the facts and the background of the person and the victim and the police and all of that stuff. I understand that, but I'm just telling you what I saw with my eyes now on camera. He was pushed on the ground. He was bleeding from his head, and supposed to have been a cancer patient. And again, this is an elderly white man. And so, again, I'm emphasizing that, y'all, this is not a conversation about race and dividing us because of race or anything like that. That is not my intention. That is not the intention of a lot of people who are out there peacefully protesting, who are out there supporting causes to just try to bring unity and bring equality to all people, everybody, everywhere, no matter what. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no comma. There's no people of this and people of that, and people that are good and people that are bad and not criminal and all this kind of stuff. It's not up for us to say they deserve to die because they did X, Y, and Z in their past or the day before or the night before. We are not the judge, jury, and executioner. We are not the ones that get to say live or die. We're not ever in any circumstance. And so this is what we also have to take into consideration. We are not the ones that get to say, well, they have a badge, they have a gun, regardless of the color of your skin. You can be black, white, Hispanic, Asian, any type of person, male, female. Um, you just like I don't get to say, you know, their life ended or it needed to end because I felt like they were X, Y, and Z and they were arguing with me and they got loud and all of this stuff, but their life was taken from them. We can have the conversation about respect when we're both there, alive and breathing to have it. We can't have that conversation when one of us is standing and one of us is laying in the street and one of us is in the morgue and one of us is in a casket. Conversation can't be had then. Okay. And so, again, y'all, I can't stress enough, be involved. Um, Recognize that you are affected by the things going on in the world that we are in. Actively participate in your community, in your society, by voting, by volunteering, by, just being the change that you want to see in the world. Okay. And one way that I want to encourage everyone to do that is by um, starting an initiative or a challenge, if you want to call it that, um, for what I call the hashtag that challenge, okay, or initiative, whatever. So I'm going to actually put it here in the comments. And what I want to achieve with this is, as you can see, it says hashtag that. Okay. And what my hope and goal to achieve with the hashtag that challenge is to um, encourage people, whoever you are, wherever you're watching from, um, do something um, that affects change in a positive way. And it doesn't have to be politically related at all. If you say, I'm just going to help somebody who, because we are still living in a pandemic and during a pandemic. So if you know somebody that's like, I can't go into a store because I am already sick or I have a compromised immune system, I'm elderly, here, I'll go get your stuff for you. If you are a person of a younger age, um, studies have been done recently that suggest that people that are of the O positive blood type are less likely to contract or be become very sick from the coronavirus. And so I just happen to be that blood type. Woo, eh. Okay, that is all. Sorry, I'm done. But that's not to toot my horn. I'm just saying, I mean, I didn't get to choose my blood type or anything. But if you are of that blood type, or even if you're not, you're less likely, even if you don't have a pre-existing condition and you're a younger person and you are willing and able to help somebody by going out, getting groceries for them, by giving clothes or food to somebody that is less fortunate than you are. Get caught doing something good. We're seeing a lot of bad, we're seeing a lot of negative reports and a lot of, bad press. And so I am challenging you to be caught doing something good, whatever that might be. That means getting more involved in your community in a political way or otherwise, volunteering, donating, even if it's let me tutor this person or do something, you need food, you need some money, you need a ride somewhere. And this is not to say because I have never been and am not the type of person that is like, let me be seen doing this just to, get the clout or get the recognition. It's not about that. Um, but if you can be caught, now I'm not saying you giving somebody food that is, in need of food, and you're like, hey, hold on, let's take a selfie real quick. Like, please don't do that. But if you can say, this was a humbling experience, take a picture of yourself or take a picture of you and the person maybe in your car and just say, hey, I just want to snap a quick picture of us. It's no biggie. And if you post it on your own social media, excuse me, or if you send it to me, however you may want to send it to me, if this is not your first time tuning in, then you know that I've got an email address up and running. I've got, you can DMail. That's new. You can DM me on here on Instagram, Facebook. If you've got my personal number, you can text me or call me anytime. And so, yeah, however you want to get it to me and send it to me, please do, so that I can post it on our group Instagram page. Or if you just want to post it on your own, great, but please tag us in it. Please tag us in it. And don't forget to use the hashtag that. Okay. This is a challenge that I am giving each and every one of you. Okay. As you can see again, the IG name is right there at the bottom of the screen when you prepare to tag us in whatever you post, okay? That and last but not least, um, I hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody is staying safe, staying healthy in every way, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, just staying healthy, okay? Um, and so if you also are new or tuning in and I don't already have your email address, please send it to me. You can comment it now if you don't mind it being kind of, in the public eye. If you do, just DM it to me and we'll go forth like that. Go back and check out the old videos if you want to know what the whole email address thing is about. I promise you, I'm not interested in spamming anybody. I child, listen, I don't even be on my phone that much to spam people. And so that is just about all I have for us to discuss on tonight. Um, Again, just to reiterate, it's perfectly fine to peacefully protest. It's perfectly fine to get out there and say, you know what, boots on the ground time. It's enough talking about it. Let's be about it. That is what I'm encouraging all of you to do. I think that we should be doing that, but let's do it in a positive way. Let's do it in an effective way, and in a way that's going to have a lasting effect. We want to affect change, so that I saw a post on Instagram that said, from a person that was in about their 50s, saying, I'm marching with my grandchildren, and prayerfully they won't have to march with theirs. Okay. And so we want to do this in a way and so that it has a lasting impression, so that we really, really uphold equality, really uphold the sanctity of humanity and love and common courtesy and respect for one another. Okay. So that's all I've got for y'all for tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you again so much for tuning in, for supporting the channel. I hope that something that is said is encouraging to you, is inspiring, and it really motivates you to, you know, stand with myself, with so many other people who are actively trying to affect change. Okay. Be the change you want to see today and every day going forward. And just remember that this day, today, who you are right now, is only the beginning of what you're becoming. Okay. Thank y'all so much again. And I look forward to seeing y'all again next time. Stay safe. Bye.